Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Entertainment Media. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, and joining me today is a all-around great guy. I can't wait to get into this conversation. This is going to be a lot of fun. We've got somebody who's an actor, stunt coordinator, stuntman, athlete. He's a father. He's just an all-around great guy, according to everyone that has got to know him over the years. And luckily, him and I have crossed paths a bunch over the years. We saw each other a week ago, and I said, "Hey, let's do a podcast." And he said, "Sure." And yeah, I'm so happy. This is Trevor Jones. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate getting this opportunity.
Oh, my pleasure, Darren. Likewise, it's awesome to reconnect, and it's funny how things all work out. Like you said, we haven't seen each other in ages, and all of a sudden we bump into each other a week ago.
Yeah.
Now we're here chit-chatting, so it's cool.
Yeah, this is very cool. Yeah, I've thought about you over the time since I started this podcast, and thought it'd be great if we could connect. And yeah, just it happened. I guess I must have manifested it, put it out to the universe, and there we go.
That's it exactly, right? Energy.
Yeah,
It's all
exactly. Yeah.
about energies and frequencies.
Yeah. I can tell you're a guy that has set some lofty goals, had some dreams out there, and has been able to achieve them. You seem to be living the best life. I do a little research when I'm about to talk to somebody, and I just see somebody that seems super happy and really was able to set some goals and achieve them.
Well, you know what? It's in many respects that statement is very true. I live in my best life because it's the only life that I have.
Yeah.
So, you know what? It's a choice. You can choose to be happy or you can choose to be miserable. And whatever situation I'm in, I try to find the best out of it. Um, but yeah, the goals that I've set in life, I've definitely hit a few. You nailed some stuff on the head right there in my personal career, having three kids and now a grandkid and one on the way.
Wow.
Makes me a proud father. All the kids are working their way to one is a family, one is the careers and figuring out life. And then myself professionally, I've had some awesome experiences in my career working to the place that I am now, still in film work, but coordinating shows and also still performing, which is my love. And I'm not healthy enough to do it. Everything works properly. After 26 years in the business, I'm not broken, or at least not broken hearted. So hey, let's keep on spinning this wheel.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, it's great that you've been able to stay healthy. It can be, I'm sure, a little bit tough. You must have some nicks and cuts and bruises and stuff over the time. Yeah, you've been mostly healthy, have you been?
Yes, yes. The fact that you mentioned nicks and cuts and bruises as a stuntman after 26 years I've made it through very, very lucky because you know, fortunately nothing broken, nothing career ending. Um, the only thing that slowed me down, I guess, is a little bit of age. But if we keep on moving and eating well and working out and staying active, like prolonging that slowdown in the ability to do stuff and perform.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, you were, I can tell you were an athlete. You were involved in sports. The first time that I ever saw you, you had just did an amazing dunk in an NBA basketball game. The Vancouver Grizzlies were here in town for, I think, 6 seasons altogether. and they employed you as the mascot, SuperGrizz, when you would take the ball during the third and fourth quarter, and you would entertain the fans with some amazing dunks. And I saw you in the concourse. Your head was off, leaning beside you. You were huffing and puffing because you had just performed about 3 dunks, and it was pretty cool. I said, "How you doing?" You said, "I'm doing good. I'm glad I nailed that last one." And yeah, and then from that moment on, every time I saw your face, I thought of that moment and remembered it well.
Oh
That
wow.
must have been a thrill and such a great dream to be part of an NBA franchise here in Canada, and in your town you lived in. That must have been just a fantastic moment in your life.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we can all look back and appreciate the blessings that we've had in life. But I mean, that right there, 26 years old, first time I've had a job working, and my job entails entertaining 17 to 18,000 people on an NBA court. Um, was a total dream. Never had I ever thought that something like that could or would happen. I was usually the guy rooting on these teams with my buddies, watching some games. Um, so yeah, to have ended up uh, on an NBA floor, doing my thing, having a blast, dunking balls, playing around with stuff that I thought was fun, but other people take as entertainment. It's like, it didn't get any better than that.
That's cool. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I was about the same age as you, and I was living a dream too. My dream was to be a reporter, cover the NBA, and I got to be courtside for all those games. And to be able
Fantastic.
to, yeah, just absolutely fantastic to be able to see, a lot of the guys that I grew up watching coming in, and then the new crop of NBA talent every year. Just I'll never forget some of the moments. Michael Jordan and the Bulls being able to come here and getting to see Shaq and Kobe play, and just all the amazing moments in that time. And I loved it that there was a lot of us that were living a dream. We didn't have NBA growing up all the time here locally. I would go down to Sonics games for sure, and I saw games across the U.S. But suddenly we had a team here, and we got to see the action on the court. I had courtside seats for the entirety of the Grizzlies
Oh
run,
man.
and it was just an absolute dream.
Right. It's one of the best shows on the planet, I'd have to say. So exciting, vibrant. People are just ecstatic. The music going, the lights, the announcers. I mean, you can go on and on, and then watching the actual game and what happens, and hearing the players and stepping in their shoes a little bit. You being front row and court, front row and center, and you got to see the behind the scenes stuff too, which is like, that's the stuff they make documentaries on.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Right, and it's like, well, when you were a part of it,
Yeah.
right, to be in the media room back then and interviewing the players. And
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, that Last Dance documentary that came out during, I think it came out during the pandemic,
yes.
was just an absolute incredible documentary. Just unprecedented inside access to that Bulls team that were setting historic marks and winning at unprecedented levels. I actually made the documentary in a couple of occasions. I could see me in the background as some of the reporters were talking to the guys, and I was like, "Oh
Right
man!"
on.
I just flashed back immediately to some of those memories being there.
Totally, totally.
It was great. Yeah.
What was
I
one of your favorite memories in that 6 year run of the Vancouver Grizzlies being here?
Well, I mean, it started off so well with the victory in Portland, and then a victory on the home court first game.
Yeah.
Everybody was just saying, oh, this team is going to be horrible. They might, they might win 10 games, 15 games if they're lucky. And then to come out of the gate with 2 straight wins, and it just electrified the crowd. I look around and I see the entertainment that everybody's getting from an NBA game. You just get so much bang for your buck, and to actually get to witness them pulling off these 2 really incredible victories right off the gate. That just started the ride, and there were just so many moments from there.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. If you think probably what 72 hours difference between those 2 games,
Yeah.
you probably had whatever 2.5 or 2.2 million Vancouverites, their focus all of a sudden attention centered on one thing.
Yeah.
Like, and that was the power of the Grizzlies in town.
Yeah, that was neat. Yeah.
So,
For me, I was super proud of you to, see your ascent. You got to go to the All-Star game, and you won the dunk competition, the mascot dunk competition in '97
right.
in Cleveland. That was pretty cool. That must have been a moment to be able to go there for All-Star weekend. The festivities are always amazing there. And yeah, you won that. That must have been very cool. Big accomplishment.
Oh man. And one thing that was extremely special about that is a buddy of mine that I grew up with from about 8 years old, 9 years old, Chris Yee. We ended up doing gymnastics together in high school, and then I was in a basketball show called the Converse Slam Jam Air Team that a bunch of us in university put together, and we had a promoter, and we would go around from event to event, corporate events, birthday parties. And we finally went to the World Basketball Championships in Toronto and entertained at halftime shows.
Wow.
He goes,
Amazing.
"Hey, Trev, you ever think of being a mascot?" And I was like, "You know what? Not really." He goes, "Well, you do exactly what they do." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right." And then 8 months later, I auditioned for the Grizzlies and get the job. And then, so that was the second season, of '97. So when I went down to Cleveland, I called Chris up because he was in Michigan. And I'm like, "Dude, you want to come meet me out in Cleveland? You can hang out with me for the weekend because I'll need someone to help me out with anyways."
Wow.
And he's like, "You know what? That's a good idea." So he met me up in Cleveland, the same guy who planted that seed,
Cool.
and then saw me in the biggest moment of my career as a mascot, winning that dunk competition on worldwide TV. So it's like, man, it's amazing how things circle back. And
Yeah, wow. You were able to pay it forward to him, and yeah, invite him to and be able to witness your highlight of that mascot career. That's incredible.
right, so yeah, that just that whole weekend, you walk around, you've got your little NBA lanyard on, so it's like a access to anywhere you want to go. um the events that they put on too are super cool. Like, yeah, what a memorable weekend that was.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, good for you. I'm glad he planted that seed and you went for it. A lot of people would be like, yeah, that's a good idea, and then never follow through, but you did. And then, good for you to think, hey, I should bring him along and invite him down when I
Right.
get this moment.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, memories, right? That's the only thing we can take with us is memories.
Very true. Yeah. So at some point in that period of time, you decided you were going to get into the movie business as well. And how did that come about?
Well, fortunate enough, I think one Police Academy, the TV series, was filming, and they needed a performer to double one of the actors on the show. And there was a rollerblading component, and someone had seen me as the Grizz rollerblading at the games. So that production contacted the Vancouver organization, which then sent the info to me, and I contacted the production office and talked to the coordinator. He's like, "Hey, mate, we need a guy to do some stunts on the show. It's got your make and size. Would you like to come out and audition?"
Wow.
I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So showed him my stuff, and then all of a sudden, I'm working on a TV show, doing stunt work. Never done that before. I'm like, this is pretty cool. And then the guy I worked with, Mike Mitchell, he's a veteran guy in the biz now, was like, "You know what, dude, you got a lot of talent here. You should really think about doing this as a career."
Nice.
And then about 3 months later, a producer called me up that happened to be a season ticket holder, Colleen Neisted.
Mm.
She says, "Hey, we're doing this kids movie called Big and Hairy. The lead actor is a basketball playing Sasquatch, and I'd like to, if you could share some information about a costume, I'd like she just wanted some information about that." So yeah, I chatted with her, sat down, and went through some of the nuances, which I thought was important on developing a costume that's maneuverable, capable of, useful, to perform in.
Oh, great. Yeah.
And 6 months later, I called her up and I asked her how that project was going. She goes, "You know what? We're 99% green lit, but I don't have a character to play this Sasquatch." She goes, "Would you like it?" I'm like, "Oh, hey, this is perfect timing because my job with the Grizzlies ended. I had no job, and a month later, all of a sudden, now I'm the lead in this kids movie."
Incredible.
So
Cool.
it's like
Wow.
one door shuts and the other one opens.
Incredible timing. Yeah, that's nice. Wow. Yeah. Someone smiling down on you. And yeah, it's incredible how, like you say, doors open, one door shuts, another door opens, and suddenly you're on your way for what did you say, 26-year career now?
Yeah. That's 26 years. I started in '96, and it's
Wow.
it's been, yeah, a blessing. It's been amazing. Such an awesome opportunity. Good people. I've traveled around the world, on different film sets now.
Yeah.
Uh, so I can say, I guess I'm one of those kind of veterans or experienced performers that got contacts all around the world and just love doing what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you have been around the world. Mention some of the countries that this career has taken you to.
It's well, even with the NBA, they took me to Tokyo, Japan in '96, Cleveland, Texas in 95. I've worked in New Zealand with film, China, Budapest, Iceland.
Wow.
Um, um, I may have a job coming up in Mallorca.
Oh man. Amazing.
So yeah, it's, and then all across Canada
Yeah.
quite frequently. That's the cool thing. You never know. You never know who you work with if you make a good positive um, effect on them. You don't know. You never know when they're going to refer you, who they're working with, what they're working on. You could just get a phone call and be like, "Hey, remember we worked 9 years ago? Yeah. I just thought about you. I could use up some talent. What's your schedule like in the next 2 months or 3 months or 6 months?" It's like
Right.
a phone call just changes your life just like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had a few of those phone calls, and it's pretty neat. And yeah, you just never know. You just never know. You could be standing there huffing and puffing after a dunk, and suddenly somebody comes up and talks to you, and you never know, how many years later we're chatting. The great thing about stunt doubles are that they get an opportunity to work with some of the most prominent actors in the business. And you're I can tell you're a movie buff, and a guy that really enjoys it. Tell me about the a lot of the guys that you've been able to stunt double, I've seen a list of Wesley Snipes and Common and Ja Rule and just so many really, really big guys over the years that you've had an opportunity to spend those 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 months with.
Well, you know, they've all been pretty cool. I've you know, down to earth people, I think obviously is what we all enjoy hanging out with. But you know, Common was awesome. I doubled him on Hell on Wheels in Alberta. And man, I guess you can almost tell by the demeanor of his voice, and when you see him on camera, that the way he smiles, you can tell he's a genuine person, and he's equally, if not more, genuine and sincere in real life. It was awesome working with him.
Right. Yeah, seems amazing. Yeah,
super nice. When we would go on to set, he would say hi to everybody and know everyone's name. Nice. I'm like, wow, because I'm in and out. But that was one thing that impressed me the most, is, you know, he treated everyone super cool and was respectful of everyone. Wesley Snipes was a blast. I was just talking about him a few hours ago with a friend of mine that's in town, and she's like, "What was Wesley Snipes like?" And it's like, and he was awesome with me. We would one thing that I like to do is party, and he threw these spectacular parties at awesome waterfront house in West Vancouver, and you'd walk in and he's the guy DJing.
Really?
He's like, come on in. Cool. Full spread of food and everything was taken care of, and we would just dance and have a good time. And you know, it was like that was like our version of Hollywood North right there.
Right on.
Down in Hollywood, they like to have big house parties as opposed to going to nightclubs.
Right, makes sense.
Like, I kind of like in this Hollywood lifestyle, you know.
No doubt, that's great. Yeah, it's fun. I worked on the show Altered Carbon, and Anthony Mackie was the lead actor on the one season I was on. I worked on both seasons, and he was lead actor on the one season. And they had a wrap party, and it was just okay. It wasn't anything special. And he decided, I'm going to throw a wrap party, and I'm paying for everything. And it was 10 times better than the wrap party that the production put on. And nice. Yeah, it was great. He just really did it up well. Incredible spread of food, you know, really fun dance party. And yeah, just one of my favorite celebrations of you know, finishing off a show. It was really great.
Right on. Do you remember where he did that? Because I'm thinking, how did I miss that party?
Yeah, we did it at the Library Square.
Library Square. Okay.
Yeah. And,
right on.
Yeah, he threw a hell of a party. He knew how to have a good time, and we had fun at the wrap party. We've had some fun wrap parties. I definitely you know, enjoy when they do that, but when an actor goes above and beyond, yeah, it just really shows that they are down to earth and cool and fun. Sure. And they, you know, they really know how to say thanks to everyone that was part of it.
You know what? That's just it. You always got to remember where you came from, and if, you know, people, if you appreciate others, they will appreciate you back.
Yeah. Was there any jerks? Have you had to double for anybody that you were like, oh, that guy really actually wasn't very cool?
I probably, if I have, I probably erased that from my memory.
Good.
I don't think no, nothing, no one that I've actually doubled that I've seen been jerks. There definitely have been jerks on set that I've seen.
Yeah. Well, I'm
glad just to protect their personalities, I'm not going to say anything negative on this podcast. Okay. They know who they are.
All right. Sounds good. Good. I'm gonna list some of the movies that you've appeared in and some of the TV shows, and then you tell me some of the ones that when you're sitting down at a dinner party or talking to people of some of the shows that you tell them. I just can't believe all the incredible movies and stuff that you've been in.
Sure.
Deadpool, Blade Trinity, Night at the Museum, Butterfly Effect, Chronicles of Riddick, I, Robot, X-Men, Wolverine, Twilight Saga, Planet of the Apes, Final Destination, Spartacus, Resident Evil, Suicide Squad, Bad Times at the El Royale, Sonic the Hedgehog, Star Trek, Godzilla, on and on and on. Percy Jackson, what I'm on right now. You did the movie. I'm doing the TV show. Watchmen,
Right.
scary movie. Those are the movies, and the TV shows. I've got a list that's just on and on and on. Stargate, a million little things that you're working with right now. Travelers, Supernatural, Legends of Tomorrow, Van Helsing, The Flash, Continuum, Hell on Wheels, Once Upon a Time, Battlestar Galactica, Blade. Just oh man, like holy cow, like that is incredible. When somebody asks what you do and what you've been on, what are the ones that come to mind usually right off the top of your head?
It's funny because every time you mention one of those shows, Darren, a memory comes just racing into my head. And
Amazing.
half of I can't even repeat a third of that list that you've listed off because I'm always fumbling around going, what did I work on? But it's kind of been a blur. The oh man, the movies, I mean, Night at the Museum was spectacular. It was one of the biggest movies I'd worked on at the time. The sets, I think the first one was something about the Smithsonian,
Right.
and and it was amazing the detail of that set. We couldn't even walk on there and rehearse in the beginning without having some like either bare feet or we'd have to have our shoes covered because the floor, I think they used the same marble that was used in the actual Smithsonian.
Wow,
Like,
incredible. Wow.
so
That's
crazy.
attention to detail.
Yeah,
Wow.
oh yeah, oh yeah. And that would have been one of the first times I've also worked with Robin Williams,
Nice.
which was iconic, seeing as grew up watching Mork and Mindy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Um, yeah, for all of those people that just gave my age out there. Um, but yeah, that show was amazing. First time I'd worked with Ben Stiller, and he was hilarious and funny, and we were doing big gags. Whenever you're doing like slapstick comedy, you always have to do the silliest, weirdest things. So,
Yeah.
on that show we played at Tuskegee Airmen. Um,
Yeah, I have a good friend that was on that night of the museum, and they said Robin Williams was just spectacular. He just would come out, and there's a little bit of time between takes, and he would just, do his goofy, crazy, just comedy, and just keep everybody laughing, everybody just having fun, and I'll never forget when she was saying to me like, man, I just couldn't believe how entertaining he was just on a normal regular day.
oh man, it's just a natural,
Yeah.
right? There are people that are just natural and a level above everyone else. Your Jordans, your Gretzky's, your Robin Williams, and when he turned it on, it wasn't even like it's not even like a switch because it could happen from the introduction, from
Right.
him shaking your hand and I'm Robin Williams, and then he goes into something right away, and it's like, wow, you're laughing and you're enamored.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you know, again, the when you're making memories of thinking, geez, there's probably 60, 70 people in this room, and I have the opportunity to be in here. Nobody else is doing this in the world. It's just like us. Like, holy smokes, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And then it's also documented.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Super special.
Very, very, very special. Yeah. Incredible.
I,
Yeah, go ahead. Keep going. Yeah.
I'd have to say definitely a favorable moment was working in New Zealand.
Nice.
Auckland, New Zealand on Spartacus. Because the first time I was asked if I was available to work on it, I'm like, yeah, sure. What is it? And they're like, yeah, it's a Stars show or an HBO show. Can't remember who came out with it. And I'd never seen it before.
Okay.
So I watched an episode and I saw that there is obviously a lot of graphic content and nudity. And I thought to myself, holy smokes, my kids are at the time they were 6 and 7 years old. And I'm like, man, I can't show my kids what I'm working on because it's like soft porn here. But once I went down there and the New Zealanders, the Kiwis, I think are one of the friendliest group of people on the planet.
Cool. Very cool.
Just so nice. The landscape is beautiful. It's basically like a warmer version of Vancouver.
Yeah.
But yeah, the people. And again, when I say fortunately I've had the opportunity to work around the world, but just on that specific trip, there are easily half a dozen people that I call great friends today. Still, they'll be friends for life. But the amount of close people that I made friends with, and I can call them family, came out of that opportunity of work.
That's
So,
great. Yeah, good for
yeah.
you. Yeah, that must have been such a bonding experience being so far from home and just being in such a different place. But yeah, that's I've known a lot of guys that have been able to go onto productions around the world, and they said, it's just a memory, memories that they'll have with those people till the day they die. And if they, keep in touch with them, which a lot of them do, they said it's something that we mention quite often.
Right.
Yeah, so good. Yeah. I've had an opportunity to work on a few productions that you've been on. A series of unfortunate events, When We Rise,
Yeah.
Supergirl, Skyscraper, and Midnight Mass. I've been on all those shows while you were there. I never wanted to bug you because you're in the middle of doing things, but it was always great to watch the stunts. And I love it when we're dressing a set and you guys are rehearsing near and getting ready for the scenes that you're going to be part of. It's always my favorite part of the production, getting an opportunity to see you guys at work.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, those were all fun shows too. And I think the prep is equally as enjoyable as performing on the day, because you got to work things out, you got to make things work, and you got to adjust and and get things camera ready.
Yeah.
I mean, I think even on Midnight Mass, the director, I can't remember who the director is, I'm really bad with names, but for the specific nuances that he wanted, and that was the scene, I think we were blowing up a church.
Right. Yeah.
Right, there was that, and then
Deep Lang.
we were zombified people running across a field and around a corner, and yeah, it was very specific things. That was a fun night.
Very cool. Yeah, really neat. Yeah, it's when we started talking, I had to all of a sudden pinch myself for a second and realize that one of my best friends, I do a podcast with every Monday now. We do a weekend wrap up of sports. And I originally met him. He was a mascot, and he was the Sea Fox mascot. and he would go around to events. And I was always a reporter. I would be at games, I would be at music shows, and Fox was always there promoting the radio station. So him and I started crossing paths almost, 3-4 times a week, it seemed like.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, years later, I'm in the movie industry and I'm a lead on one of the productions, and I thought I need a couple extra guys, and I thought, yeah, I'm gonna call him up and see if he would be interested. And I call him up, and he's like, "Set deck, yeah, I think I heard of that. I don't really know what it is, but yeah, I'll give it a shot." And he's still doing it to this day, and him and I have remained friends. And
Oh,
there's
awesome.
another mascot that I met originally. That's what he was doing. He was probably about the same age as you were when you became the Grizz. And
Okay.
yeah, and his name's Jason Cameron, great guy. Yeah, I'd love you to get a chance to meet him one day. And him and I do a podcast every Monday. He's an expert in mixed martial arts, the NFL, and the NBA. And so him and I do a great podcast that wraps up the weekend in sports. And it's pretty neat that I've had two mascots now on my podcast, and
Who would
great.
have thought?
Who would have thought? Yeah.
Jason Cameron, that name now it rings a bell.
Yeah, I'm sure you
I have a
guys have
feeling I
worked
would have
on.
met him
I'm
at
sure
some
you,
point.
yeah, I'm sure you guys have worked on other productions today, and you probably met at some point. The last time I remember seeing you in the Grizz uniform was when they had the 4 college games, and maybe about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, they had the
Yes.
NCAA tournament, little mini tournament up here, and I guess you got an opportunity to do what you do, and they asked you to, reinvigorate that role. That must have been pretty great, huh?
That was fun. Howard Story and his crew put together this whole NCAA tournament for men's and women up here, and he had contacted me and asked me if I want to be at the Grizz again, because he remembered being at the games and seeing the impact that the Grizz had made at games and the entertainment value that it brought. And it was, again, so we're looking at, that was about 3 years ago. So 21, 22 years after the Grizzlies have left, and we recreate this character. And I use the jersey and shorts that I got from the Tokyo games, which would have been the first ever regular season NBA game played outside of North America.
Wow,
And
that's
that was
historic.
in '96 in Tokyo. It was the New York Nets and the Orlando Magic.
Very cool. Wow.
So
Very
I
neat.
I think it was in early September that I got word that the NBA had chosen Grizz to be the NBA mascot, and I was going down to Calgary.
Well,
So they asked for my measurements. They made this one-off jersey for Grizz and for SuperGrizz.
really cool.
Um,
Wow.
and so I wore that jersey at this NCAA tournament over my makeshift Grizz costume. And man, we were at the convention center, and the amount of people that came was awesome. They put stands up, um and it was over a course of 3 or 4 different nights. But the stories that people would whisper in my ear over and over about how good it was to see me, how good it was to see Grizz, and to see like the fathers would be with their sons or their daughters, which were now 25, 26, and they're like, I took a picture with you and my son when he was 5 years old.
Wow. So
man,
cool.
he never forgot it. So then he would ask for another picture, and like all the memories that came that surfaced.
Neat. Yeah, I had the same kind of experience. I'm sure not to the degree you had, but I started seeing basketball people that I hadn't seen in years. I
Right.
was like, "Oh my God, where have you been?" It just seemed like when the Grizzlies left, just a lot of those people faded off into different worlds, and I wasn't part of that anymore. And it was so nice to have that. I took Jason. Yeah, Jason Cameron came with me, and because he's such a big basketball guy. And I would be walking along and I would bump into people, just,
Right.
so many different people that I hadn't seen in a long time. I developed a huge love of basketball, spending a lot of my youth in Victoria. And the
Right.
UVic Vikes were a huge, huge basketball team. They won, I think, six national championships in a row when I was there. And Ken Shields and his wife were the coaches of the teams. And I went to all those games when I was a kid, and I just loved the sport. Obviously, love the NBA, but it was nice to be able to go to live games and see a team have so much success. And
Right.
and then when the Grizzlies came, I just had to be part of it. I was able to get a media pass and cover the team. And as soon as the Grizzlies left, I decided I was going to leave as well, and I moved down to Seattle, and I covered the Sonics, and
Okay.
that was great. Unfortunately, obviously, they left as well, and broke everybody's heart again in
Right.
the Pacific
Oh man.
Northwest here. And we're still hoping for teams to come back here.
Well, hoping is an understatement.
Yeah.
My goodness. Um, did you have a chance to see the Grizzly Truth in Finding Big Country?
Oh, of course, yeah. And one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. It was just absolutely phenomenal. I was glad you were part of that. And
Mhm.
and yeah, she did an amazing job with that, and actually going and finding Bryant, and talking to everybody involved in the team back then. It was
Right.
incredible.
Right. Again, that's one person. Cat was so diligent in her storytelling. And again, 25 years later, I'm learning stuff about the Grizzlies that I had no idea about that went on. And I was in behind the scenes.
Right, right.
Right. But the culture, what a culture that the NBA has created here.
Yeah,
And to see these people resurface 20 years later, 25 years later,
yeah.
it is it's a testament to how what an impact that was made. And there's a
Oh,
lot of love for the NBA in Vancouver.
oh
um,
yeah.
I keep my
Yeah,
fingers crossed that there's some possible way that they can rekindle a franchise here.
me too. Yeah.
We're probably in line after Seattle, but hey, it
Yeah.
happened once. Maybe lightning can strike twice.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, the appetite would be massive here for it. And I think it would be super successful. And the NBA hamstrung the Grizzlies with not allowing them to draft really high, because of the expansion troubles that they had a few years before. The teams got too good too quick, and sort of upset a lot of the established franchises. So they, made it really tough for both the Raptors and the Grizzlies in the early stages to get those top guys that would have really just put them over the top and give them that opportunity.
Sure.
I think the Grizzlies would have won an NBA championship probably before the Raptors did. I think there was a really good base here, an amazing fan base. And if they would have just had the right ownership, that didn't want to take them south, we'd still have a team here, and we would have been celebrating a title for sure.
Totally, totally. Well, we definitely had some of the best entertainment in the NBA, right? So who is to say that the team wouldn't follow suit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How satisfying was it in 2019 when the Raptors won? You must have been waving that "We the North" flag, and watching all the games with all your friends. Tell me about that run and how fun it was.
Oh my goodness. As a Toronto native, I didn't have a choice but to cheer for the Raptors. But then being Canada's team, I mean, wow, it was a testament when you saw the theaters showing the Raptors playing basketball playoff games. Like that was like the draw. And will as a Raptor fan, I guess we'll remember two shots the most in history. One, Vince Carter missing that three,
Yeah.
and two, Kawhi Leonard hitting that three.
Right.
Right. Obviously, not to take anything away from Vince because he's one of the best dynamic players to in the history of the game. Plus, one of the top dunkers. Like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
about talent.
Yeah.
But, and he did what he did for the franchise. But man, 2017 Raptors winning, sorry, 2019 winning the NBA championship. Who would have actually thought? Right.
Yeah. No, it was incredible. What a run they had. It was just so nice to get Kawhi Leonard, and he came in and was, very instrumental, obviously, in them going so far. But Masai Ujiri and that management team just made the right moves at the right time, getting some really key pieces, and they went on an incredible run. And it was amazing for me, being a huge basketball fan, seeing that the sport was more popular than hockey in Canada, and I never imagined that basketball could, surpass the popularity in the playoff time. There was no Canadian teams left at some
Right.
point in the NHL playoffs, and all of a sudden everybody jumped on with the Raptors and saw them all the way to that title. And I'd go into bars before that happened, and I would say, "Hey, I want to watch a basketball game," and there was 100 TVs on hockey, and they would stick me in a corner, and I'd be able to listen to the sound and be watching a basketball game in the corner. But that year, it was hockey was shoved to the side, and basketball was in the forefront.
Right. It's just so amazing.
Yeah.
And now, because of that, we have someone just told me our Canadian national team will probably have to say no to other Canadian national players that are in the NBA.
Yeah.
So we're getting to a point where we have what, 15, 20, 25, 30 Canadians in the NBA.
Yeah.
So watch out because our national team is going to be pretty darn good.
Yeah. Well, we have the second most people per country in the NBA, and it's starting to be elite talent. And look on the world scale in the next coming years, we're going to win a lot of championships and be right up there, competing with Americans and all the basketball elite. Speaking of Canada and the national team, you and I saw each other watching Canada play in the World Cup. First time in 36 years we made the World Cup. An absolutely fantastic, fun team. And that CONCACAF qualifying, suddenly Canada started getting behind these guys and started supporting it. Alfonso Davies, a local kid here playing for the Whitecaps and going to school here for many years, was the driving force. And all of a sudden, this team started becoming a powerhouse, and it was able to qualify. That day was really fun. We should have beat Belgium that day.
Totally.
We outplayed them and had so many opportunities, but lost it. But fun to see Canada really get on the bandwagon of this national team and support it very well. And I sure had a blast watching the World Cup with Canada involved.
No, totally. You're a true athlete and you understand and recognize talent. And the talent that we saw during that Belgian game, um, was world class, right? World class. So I think by default in 2026 we get to well, I guess we'll make the World Cup again, since we're going to be part of the co-hosts.
Yeah, we've qualified already, so we're
Right.
in,
So
which is very nice.
hey, we can only do better than how we did this World Cup at this point. And I mean, these guys can hold their heads high, because if the refereeing worked in our favor and actually made a couple of calls, there would have been 2 more penalty shots for Canada.
Yeah, right.
We would have won that game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, they're not recognized as a power yet, and I think we've seen that refereeing is a little slighted towards the team they they recognize as the team that's supposed to win. And but yeah, I think Canada will get the benefit of the doubt a lot more tournaments going forward, and we should have won that game. The incredible goosebump moment I felt when Alphonso Davies did score against Croatia, 1 minute and 8 seconds into that game on Sunday. That was one of my favorite moments of my life. Incredible to finally see Canada score, and so early on. And being Alphonso Davies, this local guy that we got to know around here, that was a moment too.
So fitting, right? You couldn't have wrote it better, other than a win from the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, the best player in the country, starting off that game, which there was so much anxiety and excitement built around, their second game. That's probably I'd say there's no bigger moment in Canadian sports history, other than when Canada won at the 2010 Olympics in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And Crosby and Agilna scored that goal.
Yeah.
Like all of Canada was jumping around then.
Yeah.
And then all of Canada was jumping around when Alphonso Davies scored that goal.
Exactly. Yeah.
2 days ago.
Two amazing moments, 2 incredible goals, and yeah, things that I'll never forget. I'm glad you mentioned the Olympics. That month was one of the best months of my life. Having it here locally, having an opportunity to go to so many events, and for Canada to do so well. I never saw Canadians be so patriotic, and it was really great. I actually wish that it could be like that all the time. I don't know why it can't be, but it was so incredible. Tell me about your Olympic experience, the month that they were here.
Well, I was working in Toronto when the Olympics started here, and I was itching to get back, because I knew, this was a lifetime opportunity to be in a city that's hosting the Olympics. And fortunately, within 24 hours, I got a call for a job. So I'm like, cool, I'm on a plane right away. I'll even come early. And I flew in at about 11 or 12 at night, and a friend picked me up, and we went down. Instead of coming home, we went just walked downtown, and I could not believe my eyes. The sea of red, the different nationalities here, the big tents, everybody high-fiving each other. Everyone had a smile in their place. There was such a synergy amongst people that never experienced before in Canada.
No.
Right? We're all high-fiving each other. Everyone wanted to talk to each other. Even having, you couldn't walk a block without seeing 4 cops together. But for the first time, everyone was friends with the cops.
Yeah.
They were high-fiving us. We were
high-fiving them. Yeah. Which was
everybody was the same.
Yeah.
right? Which was incredible.
Yeah.
And everyone was happy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No,
yeah.
it was a hell of a moment, and so
How do we
incredible.
get it back,
So
Darren? How do we get it back?
we got to get it back somehow. It would be nice. Yeah, like you say, people high-fiving. There was, it just seemed like everybody was friendly with everybody and just wanted to talk and just wanted to share your joy and the feeling that you had with everybody that you could.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a heck of a moment. A few not too long later, about a little over a year later, the Canucks went on a run, and this city really galvanized the game. And there started being watch parties downtown, big screen set up, and huge. You'd see flags on cars, and everybody became a Canucks fan coming out of the woodwork. What was that experience like for you?
It was bittersweet because, again, being from Toronto, I'm a diehard Leaf fan. But as the collective in Vancouver rallied behind this team, which we're great at rallying behind teams, not so great at consistently cheering for teams. But as we rallied, you just felt this momentum, and it built and built from game to game and series to series. And we're like, wow, this has actually happened. Okay, you know what? Let me go out and get a Canucks hat or some kind of paraphernalia because it's on. And Vancouver is fantastic for getting behind a team. We just want something to cheer for,
Sure. Yeah.
right? And it was all about the Canucks, and it's obviously disappointing result, but the journey for the getting to the NHL finals was fantastic.
Yeah, it
Right?
was. Yeah.
The bars were full. Like you said, the TV screens, everyone was glued to it. And again, we were all the same.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. It was great. To united the city. Sports does that. It unites cities, it unites countries, unites people, and that's one of the reasons why I just love sports. It has given me so much joy and passion and love, and I'm so blessed to have worked in the industry and had an opportunity to have uh favorite teams that have had success and being able to go far. I really, yeah, I just get so much satisfaction out of seeing everybody come together, unite, and just everybody's friends. Everybody puts aside their differences, and
Yes.
it's like, hey, you're a fan of them, you're a friend of mine now. This is great, and
Right.
that's awesome,
Right.
isn't it?
It's good. It's a European mentality.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're in a really great position right now. Your favorite football team is the most dominant team in the NFL again this year. The Eagles are looking like unstoppable force. They were able to get the Super Bowl title a few years ago. What was that run to that Super Bowl, and how was that for an Eagles fan?
Well, since it hasn't happened in ages, probably in my short time on this planet, to see that draft pick Carson Wentz take him, turn the team around as a fairly stay at home, sit in the pocket quarterback, which is the exact opposite from what we've been used to, starting with the Randall Cunninghams,
Michael, yeah,
the
Michael Vick, and
Vicks, the McNabbs.
yeah.
It was a complete opposite dynamic, but the results was spectacular. Well, it was so promising. And then when he got injured, it was like, no, finally we have something to cheer for. But and the team continued to rally under Foles.
Yeah.
It's like,
It was
wow, this is really happening again. It's You're sitting on the edge of your seat like you're watching a soap opera. And I can't remember what their record was, but I think it might have been 10-4 or 11-5 to get them into the playoffs. They were a wild card pick, and then to take it to the Super Bowl was incredible.
Yeah.
And then the stories were the second string quarterback was basically going to retire before that year started,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
he thought, no, not getting an opportunity. I might as well just head off into the sunset. And
Right,
yeah,
right.
and thankfully he didn't, because he was incredible in that playoff run.
Yeah, yeah, spectacular, so solid. So it gave me a chance to brag to all my friends because there's few and far in between actual Eagles fans.
Yeah,
And at the same time, it brought me together with some other Eagles fans.
nice.
Um, so mostly every Sunday, there's a group of Eagles fans that meet at the Regal Beagle on Broadway.
Yeah,
And we cheer on our Eagles.
yeah,
So that was great then, and now, yeah, the juggernaut, under Hurts. I mean, you can't even talk solely about Hurts because the defense is solid. Every position is there's someone competitive in that. There's in that role. There are no holes in their team,
yeah,
right? So
yeah.
I'm,
This
I'm
this
glad
has
they lost the
been
game.
this has been an absolute amazing run. I don't think people thought this team would be this good this quick, but Hertz came on. Just such an incredible athlete, and he's setting records. It seems like every week, and like you mentioned, Randall Cunningham, Michael Vick, guys that were mobile quarterbacks that were running all the time, and he's beating their records, which is it's crazy to think of. And
Right,
and
right.
you mentioned Carson Wentz, Nick Foles, both basically pocket passers, and that took you guys to a championship. But I think Jalen Hurts and this team, yeah, I would give them the best shot at winning the title this year.
Totally, totally. Because Jalen's learned also to sit in the pocket. So now you got a guy that can sit in the pocket and make some passes. And then if he has to, he relies on his athleticism,
Yeah,
which is undoubtedly some of the best athleticism in the league.
yeah,
Um, and it makes for exciting football.
yeah. No kidding.
Yeah.
So you said you're a diehard Leafs fan. What will it be like if the Leafs ever win a championship in the next, let's say in the next 5 years, if they can hoist a cup, what would it mean to you?
I would actually fly back to Toronto just to be in that city as it erupted. And I hoped it would be double the size of the eruption it was when the Jays won the World Series back in 91, 92,
Yeah,
93, because
92,
that
93.
city,
Yeah, yeah,
it just went off. And there are, I'm, I couldn't, don't quote me on this, but if the waiting list for Toronto Maple Leaf tickets are 8 to 12 years,
right. Yeah,
there's a lot of fans there. It hasn't happened since '67.
yeah,
And they got the NHL Sports Hall of Fame in Toronto,
yeah,
right? So there's a lot of people that have been waiting for this special moment to happen.
yeah, yeah. It's gonna be incredible. I don't know if it will happen. For some reason, they can't get out of that first round year after year after year, but they just assemble incredible teams, but they just can't have playoff success for some reason.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Well, at some point, you know, you have to be good to be lucky and lucky to be good, right? And they've been relatively good for a long time. So at some point, maybe some luck will be on our side as well.
yeah. When I first asked you if you would be interested in doing a podcast with me, you said something. I didn't write it down word for word. I wish I had, but you said something about you'd like to do it to help inspire people, help young people. You said that maybe somebody listening, watching could be inspired by your story. Can you
Right.
elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, we haven't really spoken about my story, but I think in with with any form of success, there's a journey that happens. And everyone can learn from a story if you're open-minded. And I just think to myself, I've got to where I've got to because my mom and dad instilled some principles of, working hard, being tenacious, never quitting, learning from every experience. Um, uh, and with that, I put myself out there. I've always been athletic, so the lessons you learn in sports stay with you for life, and there's no other opportunity to learn some of these lessons when you're working with people, your teammates, relationships, overcoming obstacles, losing. How do you perform and come back after you've lost? Do you hang your head low? Do you let it get to you? Does it inspire you? And so all of these experiences, I think, have formed a personality in myself that along with reading and being inspired and hanging out with people who have what I want and are knowledgeable and dropping little nuggets of information. I've been able to navigate through life and, take roll with the punches, because everyone's going to get knocked down. Les Brown said, if you get knocked down, just land on your back, because if you look up, you can get up. Right. So all these little things that I've done, and all of a sudden I've found myself to be where I am, where one, I'm happy. Two, I've accomplished some goals. I've done some pretty cool things. I've navigated through the pitfalls in life. I've made many mistakes. I've either corrected those mistakes or dug myself out of the holes. And when people hear some of the experiences that I've had, or I can share some of my stories or give someone my opinion, and they can use and take that knowledge and implement it into their life, and it can help them get through a situation or allow them to accomplish something. I mean, I'm a big fan and advocate of helping others, right?
Nice.
If you talk to, not only financially, but if you talk to any millionaire, they'll tell you that they didn't get there by themselves.
Sure.
Right? There's always someone to help them.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
We all have that favorite high school teacher or elementary school teacher, because they did a little bit extra, probably, to care. And they cared about you, and they said something or they did something that made an impact. And you're like, you know what? That teacher stands out in your mind.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't want to be the person necessarily that stands out in people's minds, but I definitely would like to be the person that could be a little nugget of inspiration to give someone some belief and some confidence so that they can do what they want to do.
Nice. I love it. Yeah, very well said. One thing that I've noticed in all the stunt people that I've talked to is that they realize that the more well-rounded they are, the more skills they have, the more opportunities are going to open up, more doors open. So I was blown away at the list of things that you can do. And when a director or a casting agent comes up and says, "Hey, Trevor, we got a horse over here. Can you ride a horse? We're going to do some scuba diving. Can you do that? Can you rollerblade? Can you skate? Can you snowboard? Can you do this?" You have a list that's as high as this building of things that you can do. That must be one of the coolest things about being a stunt person, is that you actually have to sort of drive yourself to be so well-rounded and learn so many skills that could, be utilized in your job.
Well, that's kind of it, Darren. I'm I'm competitive with myself, and if I see somebody else doing something that I enjoy, I want to be able to do it as well.
Nice.
And fortunately, I've been blessed with some coordination. So it's a matter of there's nothing that I can't do if I know that it's been done.
Nice.
Right. But applying it back to stunts, you are basically, your worth is your toolbox, and the more tools that you have, right, the more ability that you have to service the industry. Right. And I was fortunately from an athletic background, I've played a lot of different sports, so I have a lot of basics and the fundamentals. I've mastered a lot of the basics. Great. And then I fell in love with gymnastics when I was 13, because it's something I hadn't done, but I wanted to learn how to flip. Cool. And that gave me, after training for 8 or 9 years and having body awareness and agility and some flexibility. I mean, gymnastics, in my opinion, is a foundation of everything.
Nice. Right?
It's the foundation of movement. You've got power. When you combine power and flexibility, there again, there's nothing that you can't do. Yeah. So I really enjoy doing stuff, and if I could do stuff well and get by, that increases your fun. There's a lot of skills that I never thought that I would be proficient at, but getting into stunts and learning to drive and firework and dirt bikes and high falls, the list goes on. But it also means that I get to my work time is actually my recreation time.
Oh, fun. Very cool.
Right. And if I can, it doesn't matter if I love to go to Croatia. I go every year sailing with my friends, and we'll go cliff jumping.
Nice.
Right. So I enjoy it because I'm good in the air, and I also enjoy it because it's a challenge for me, because I don't really like heights that much.
Okay.
But I know that I have the ability to maneuver myself in the air, and if I do something cool, well, then you know what? When it's documented, we're gonna have it on video or camera, so I'll be the hero.
Nice.
If I screw up, then you know what? Then I'm the object of some good laughter. Like, we're at the club the other night, and I decided to do a backflip, and I think I landed on the side of my face on. So hey, it happens.
Win-win situation.
What's that?
It's a win-win situation, no matter what.
That's right. That's great. Totally. So so fortunately, I've been blessed with the ability to have a lot of different skills and to be able to do a lot of different things, which again makes me desirable in my profession.
Yeah, so good. I want to play a little bit of your demo reel, just to show people you in action. It's got great music. It's got a lot of action and a lot of fun. Let's take a look at Trevor in some of his roles that he's played.
Got it.
It is it's super fun to watch, and it's gonna be fun to check out for viewers and listeners. On the viaduct there.
classes.
Is this Dead Rising? Is this done?
That's Eck the Tiger with Salman Khan.
Look at you there. Awesome shot of you. Oh, that's a high fall.
Yeah, big parking lot. That was probably my biggest burn on.
Yeah, I'll play the second more. You're actually on fire for a little bit here, aren't you?
Yeah, I would say
Get
that
off
was
the bike and then you. Man, that must have been.
that was about
That
a
was
25-second burn.
25 seconds. Really?
Yeah.
Wow. What does that feel like? What does that feel like when you're on fire like that?
Well, when it's done properly, it doesn't feel too much like anything. Everything gets a little bit warmer around you. But because we have the proper gear, techniques, gels, material on our clothing, we're protected. I'm also wearing a race car driving fire suit underneath. And we start off in ice cold gel and everything. We're very protected.
That's good.
Yeah.
There have been some accidents. This is a dangerous job. You were on Deadpool and there was a fatality. Were you there that day? Were you around?
I wasn't there. I was out of the country.
Okay.
But as it happened, my phone started ringing immediately, and I didn't know what had happened exactly. But yeah, it's totally unfortunate and super sad that you know it's not a part of the game that we like to think about or we like to entertain, but there's an element of risk in everything that we do.
Right.
You can walk outside your door and step off a curb and get hit by a car. There's always an element of risk. We push the bar in the film industry, but we also do things with the appropriate protocols to minimize risk. And you just have to hope that today isn't necessarily a day that your maker's gonna call for you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's dangerous, but from everything that I've ever witnessed on sets, you guys do, incredible job putting in all the safety protocols. You're currently a stunt coordinator on a show called A Million Little Things.
Yes.
And I understand that you are going to be working on the show Kung Fu as well. Is that
That's right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
tell me about your gigs right now that you're currently in.
Sure. Coordinating A Million Little Things has been amazing. It's been this is our 5th season, and we're gonna end at the end of the 5, which has been a great ride because I've had a awesome opportunity to be on a show for the full run,
Cool.
to know the show writers, the producers,
Right.
uh, create relationships with the cast, and be a part of something, right? Because we've formed a family. This is a little film family. It's people you go to battle with and war with. You're working 15, 16, 17 hours a day from time to time, and you see them more than you see your family.
Right.
So it's always awesome, and right from the beginning, what DJ Nash had set up, our showrunner and creator, um, um, he basically addressed is addressing all the big issues in life that sometimes we don't want to talk about, whether it be suicide, drug abuse, infidelity, disease, health and sickness, um, the touchy subjects.
Sure.
And when I say he created a family, he totally has. I've never been on a show where, right at the beginning, they sit down with us all and they're like, hey, you know what? We understand that, life is life and heavy stuff happens. If you ever need someone to talk to, we have a resource of of psychologists, of anyone. If you have any problems, there's
Brilliant.
someone. They gave us access to get help, which is important, necessary, and very considerate.
Yeah, that's really nice. Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's
Makes
nice
you
to be a
feel.
part of something that's meaningful.
No kidding. Yeah.
Um, yeah,
I'm
I'm
glad you
doubling.
glad you have a second family like that.
Totally, totally. Because and then I'm doubling a local actor, Reese Alexander. He's playing a character on Kung Fu. So today I just rehearsed a fight scene. He's playing a gatekeeper, so I rehearsed a scene with a sword, which has been fun.
Very cool.
Dust off the cobwebs with my sword work,
Right.
and I got a couple of days coming up on the new show called Fire Country.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know the show. I have a friend that works on it right now, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, good. Oh well, so lots of opportunities that can continually come in your way. That's amazing.
Yes, yes, our industry is it's a little slower than it normally is, but that's just peaks and valleys. It's what we do. I'm sure next year will be back to business again.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's the opportunities don't stop. Fortunately, being a veteran performer in the industry, my phone consistently rings from, so you never have to worry about the fridge being empty.
Good, good. Yeah,
Let's put it that
good,
way.
good. Are any of your kids gonna follow in your footsteps?
Great question. My two youngest, Devin and Alora. Alora, at the age of 9, she actually doubled Jaden Smith
Well, okay.
on The Earth the Day Stood Still.
Wow.
And that was kind of the start and end of her career.
Okay.
Um, she's pursuing her nursing prerequisites right now. But there have been a couple opportunities for her to double some other actors, and I think there will be in the future. However, my son Devin, he's a part-time stuntman,
Okay.
uh, full-time painter, but he is navigating his way into, I think, being a full-time stuntman in the foreseeable future.
Wow.
And
He's a he's a big guy. Where did he get the height and bulk? It's a he looks
must be the
so
steroids in the milk, Darren.
he looks huge. Big boy that
Yeah,
he
yeah.
produced. I'm
Big
amazed
kid.
at how big
He's
he became.
about 6'1". I think he's on another kick to put on some more mass. So I think he's about 180, 185.
Nice.
Ex-soccer player extraordinaire, and just a talented kid. Yeah, I kind of remember what it used to feel like to be 24 and uh and like Superman iconic wise, you thought you think you can do anything, you can jump high, you can run fast.
Yeah.
The good
Yeah.
old days. But yeah, he's a talented kid, and I wish the best for him. And
Yeah.
here,
I'm very glad that you got your kids into sports. I think it's so important. And your daughter was a gymnast, and you
yeah,
mentioned your son
youngest was a
soccer
gymnast,
player.
and the eldest played basketball, and
Amazing,
was a baller at St. Francis Xavier. So they've all,
brilliant.
funny enough, they've some of my favorite sports. Each one of them has specialized in gymnastics, soccer, and basketball.
Incredible. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
What sports do you currently still play?
Now I am an avid hockey player.
Okay,
Yeah, started 12 years ago, and now I play probably 3 to 4 times a week if I can.
nice.
I can't get enough. I love the game. It's something I'm still trying to get better at and learning.
Cool.
It's so technical but so fast and fun.
Yeah,
Uh,
awesome.
yeah, I love it.
Yeah, good for you. That's so great. Yeah, well, this was such a pleasure. I had such a great time with you, discussing your career and getting to know you, getting having my viewers and listeners get an opportunity to hear from a real life stunt guy and getting a guy that's had a fantastic life. I see a guy that's living his best life, working really hard. Have you set some more goals that you want to reach in the next, let's say, 1, 5, and 10 years?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think one thing I want to do is roll a car on camera. I've never done that,
Okay.
and walk away from it. I add that tidbit.
Okay,
But
that's smart.
yeah, I would like to, goal wise, I'm always striving for more. I've got hopefully some opportunities to get into producing some movies. So that is one path that I would like to go through.
Great.
Um, and then I've got some other personal goals, working on a couple other ideas and projects that I'd like to get off the ground, and working on getting off the ground.
Awesome.
So I've got a couple of irons and different fires.
Good.
Um, because if we stop striving for stuff, if we don't have something to look forward to and look forward in general, then we stop growing, and life becomes stagnant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Time slows down when you do different things.
Right. Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah. Is there
and
any actors that you really hope to double at some point?
I'd love to double Denzel Washington.
Okay.
I'm not sure size wise how well we would match up, but I think Park. Um, who else? Black Panther would have been friggin' awesome to double.
Oh man, that's amazing. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Wow. That was
Since
that was a tough loss. That was a shocker, and that was a tough loss. But yeah, that movie was so huge, and he became so iconic, and yeah, that would have been a dream role of a lifetime.
right. I think that or the opportunity to play Spider-Man. I think
Same.
that's definitely would be the creme de la creme.
Okay, cool. Well, I can't wait for you to have all those happen, and we'll get an opportunity to have a beer and celebrate that, and yeah, maybe another podcast where we can talk about, hey, you reached another dream, another goal, and
Sure,
yeah,
you got it.
along the
I
line
can't
of
believe 93 minutes has gone by with the blink of a finger. It's so easy to talk to you, Darren. I really had a good time uh,
good.
catching up with you,
Yeah.
and I appreciate you having me on your podcast.
Thanks so much. Yeah, Trevor, I know your time is valuable, and I really appreciate you sharing your story and everything with my viewers and listeners and us here in the studio. This is great. Yeah, I can't wait to see you again. Let's get together and watch some sports as they emerge. And yeah, as I said, just so really great to get an opportunity to do this finally.
Yeah, you got it. Well, we got the second round of the World Cup coming up, so
Yeah,
good time to have a few suds over that.
that sounds good. Okay, great. Yeah, well, thank you so much for your time. And I'm just going to put it on pause, and then I'll give you everybody a little extra once Trevor's gone. Okay, hang on. Okay, well, Trevor is gone, and man, that was one of my favorite hours and a half of my life. Really appreciate him giving us an insight into the stuntman's world and all the other things that he's done in his life. Like this is a great guy, and I'm sure it came across to all of you that and a really amazing individual, and I hope it is inspiring for any young people or any people that are watching or listening to this. You set some goals, have some dreams, and work really hard, and you can accomplish a lot and have a fantastic life. Trevor has really been a shining example of that, and this was fun to be able to share with the world. So thanks so much for tuning in and checking it out. Thanks to all the people behind the scenes, research, the people that put together everything that we do here. There's going to be a lot of podcasts ahead on the Complete Media Network. This is on our Complete Sports Media as well as our Complete Entertainment Media, and there's a lot of genres going forward. Over the holiday break that's coming in a couple of weeks, we're going to have a ton of podcasts, and then into 2023, the early few months, they're going to come fast and furious. So I'm glad you stuck around and listened and watched. I appreciate it so much. We all love your support, and thanks again. Take care of yourself, and we will catch you very soon. Love you. Bye for now.